Welcome to Anime Out of Context, a comedy review show where a man completely immersed in anime culture torments his co-host, who is only allowed to watch the shows featured here. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so at patreon.com/animeoutofcontext. Alongside over 100 hours of exclusive bonus material, all episodes uploaded to Patreon are completely ad-free, even to non-patrons. Thank you for listening, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes...
You good?
Yeah, no, my brain just stopped working for a full second there. I think you broke me, boy.
Little Windows update. Let's do a take two on that bitch.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always hilarious world of anime.
And I'm an electron in superposition around an atom, and whenever Sean guesses, the waveform collapses, and now you know my location.
I'm Shaun Rem.
I'm Remington Chase.
Nobody's gonna know why I find that funny. Nobody's gonna know.
That's fine. John, it's the final week of Pride.
Yes, and Rem, great news. We got the awful shit out of the way first.
Oh, thank God.
Yep. Because this
Could
week,
really use a win.
Yeah, hey, we all needed one. And today...
Look, Sean, I know this is all part of your diabolical plot to try and make me homophobic during Pride, but it's not going to work.
I am not trying to make you homophobic during Pride.
Yeah, you're not trying, you're failing. Last week you were like, oh, this show will make him say a slur. Au contraire, Sean.
Yeah, because that's my goal, Rem. My goal is to get you to slur on the internet and bribe Dylan not to censor it. You know,
you've been trying to get me canceled since day one.
The best part is, Remington, if ever something comes where we get canceled for a bullshit reason, I won't have had to do anything. It'll be obsessed fans who can't find any real dirt on us and will, just like make up stuff. It's like, I hear these guys are just homophobic purely, despite all the evidence to the contrary.
Yeah, like if they've never listened to an episode of ours.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, look at these guys seem to be nice guys, but I bet you they are all kinds of nasty, nasty dudes.
Hey, we are two white guys with a podcast, so we can't climb on too high a pedestal. We can't.
No. Like, our pedestal is only a foot tall, right?
Yeah, it's just a little tree stump that we share.
Yeah, and like we have to hug each other while we're on it so we don't fall off. But at the very least, we're just not in the muck, with most other podcasters in our demographic.
So what are we doing this week?
Well, Remington, I'm gonna kind of make do on a promise.
Okay.
Yeah, not in the way I thought I would, and I'll be honest, it's a promise I forgot about for 6 years. Because Rem, when I was doing research for Pride Month this year, I was like, what can I show Rem for the last week of Pride Month to leave a proper impact? Because he's gonna be fucking devastated after week 3. I know that.
That's very accurate.
That's not going anywhere. So instead, what could I do? Make it a little bit of an event out of it. Because Remington, years and years and years ago, we covered a couple episodes from a very popular series that was also part of a greater franchise, as it were. And at that time, I showed you one of the most popular series from that franchise in the Western community specifically. And at that time, I told you that, hey, don't worry. Next time we visit this, I'll show you one of my favorite ones of these. And I think I said just straight up my favorite one. And now I would show you that one. But the thing about this series, Rem, is there's a lot of implied Pride stuff. But there's only ever been like one that is truly, you could call the gay one.
Yeah.
Kind of a Nightmare 2 style thing.
Yeah.
And I figured, hey, this is finally my excuse to actually properly watch it, because I didn't really get an opportunity when it originally aired, because we were busy. But after sitting down and watching it, I've come to the conclusion, you know what? I think this is a pretty good addition to this franchise, while also being so separate from everything in that franchise that I feel like people who aren't a part of it can just kind of go into it and enjoy it. And also, there's a little bit of that good girls love implications there that actually aren't just, baity throughout the whole of it.
Okay, so what is it?
Okay, Rem. Would you believe me if I told you that this week we were going to be watching the Gay Gundam? Did you see that one coming?
There was a Patreon name, but I assumed it was like a tongue-in-cheek thing. I guess they were sincere.
Oh yeah, no. Rem, the most recent Gundam, prominently features, in episode 1, a betrothal between two young women.
Do the Gundams kiss?
Well, I don't want to spoil everything, Rem. Come on.
Do Optimus Prime and Starscream get it on?
That's kind of a crack ship. I don't know. There's probably some out there, but I don't know if that would be my go-to for the Transformers verse. Surely there's the hate fuck dynamic between Starscream and Megatron, right? Surely that's the primary target demographic for that kind of pairing.
I feel like there's meat on that bit's bones. Just the guy who confuses Gundam with Transformers. And if I were more creative right now, then I'd be able to find the line there.
Hey, don't worry, Rem. We're gonna come back in a bit after you've watched it. By then, you'll have plenty of time to recover.
Oh, baby, I'll talk non-stop about Transformers. One brief tangent.
Okay. We've never gone on one of those before.
Yeah. Did you ever play, I believe for the PlayStation 1, did you ever play the Transformers video game?
Which one?
It might have just been called Transformers.
Probably. I played so many Transformers video games.
Here's what I remember from it, all right? I remember one moment. Because genuinely, as a kid, holy shit.
Was it the Beast Wars one?
No, don't be silly.
Okay. Was it the Armada one?
I think so.
Okay.
I remember that at one point, so one level was just a level that took place in Tidal Wave, the big airship carrier dealio. Aircraft carrier, right?
Yeah, big Decepticon.
Yeah, and so there was a level inside him, and then when you got out, you had to fight him. And it was, for a very young Remington, holy shit. That was a magical experience.
I just pulled it up. My God, that is a PS2 game, and my God, that UI is awful.
Okay. But the important
I get what you're coming from.
The important thing is the tidal wave fight, because fighting something that's a million miles high, and you're just a little fella. You're just a little fella kind of shooting at it.
It's very Shadow of the Colossus light. I pulled up a clip of it, and 100% I have played this game.
Anyway, long story short, I want the Gundams to kiss.
Okay, well, hey, I won't make any promises, but I won't also dissuade that possibility. But yeah, Remington. So tell me, what do you remember about Gundam in general? Anything?
Robot.
Okay. Oh, is that it? That's how far we got, huh?
And there's fascist drones.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And then I feel like I'm gonna the one time we did Gundam, I feel like I just briefly talked about how I once played a Gundam game, and that's where all my understanding comes from. And that's still the only thing. The show, not coming to mind.
Do you even remember which Gundam we watched?
Not in the least. If you gave me multiple choice, well, fuck, man, I would not like my odds.
It was a choice between Wing or Seed, and we ended up watching Seed.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah. You had your problems with it, but you didn't think it was the worst thing ever. You just thought it was it had a little too much sci-fi jargon than was worth it. And it had these weird little flappy ball guys that you thought you hated but grew to love.
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember them.
Yeah, I figured you would.
I don't remember anything else, but I remember them.
Hey, you know what, Rem? That's okay, because want to know what franchise has one of the most complicated timelines in history?
Gundam. I remember you ranting about that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. You don't have to look into the details of it, but here's just a simple graphic of how the Gundam timeline goes.
Fuck that.
Yeah. For those who have never seen the Gundam timeline, look it up. It is fucking bonkers. Because it is, quite frankly, several timelines in like alternate like universes where things go slightly different. Like most of them aren't even properly connected. It's just the overall idea of Gundam has a connected line. And Rem, looking at that graph, this is going to make you the happiest you could ever be. We're doing the one in the bottom left-hand corner that's all by itself.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, so theoretically, this could
Fuck
mean
your
that,
lore, nerds.
yeah, like there's plenty of Gundam lore for the fans and such. But also, a lot of people have told me that this is a great standalone Gundam. Like if you're at all curious, not to mention it's recently made, has some glorious animation, like minimal CG, which is insane for a mecha anime, and the CG they do use is pretty solid. And has been more often than not very positively received. And I figured, why not wrap up Pride Month with, the one Gundam that has the only kind of confirmed representation. And of course, Rem, because this is a long-running series and franchise, there's a lot of controversy around this one too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and I think you can probably guess what some of the controversy is.
Well, because it was the first on-screen robot kiss. First on-screen giant mech kiss, perhaps.
The first giant on-screen mech kiss, That is part of it. But a lot of the conflict is either outright homophobic or veiled homophobia.
Oh, no.
Because there's a lot of old school Gundam fans being like, this is one of the worst Gundam I've ever seen. And I'm like, is it though? Is it? Because I've seen some pretty bad Gundam in my time. Like, I'm by no means a Gundam expert. But this Gundam is pretty solid in my opinion. Like, I think it's probably the one I've enjoyed the most in recent memory. But you probably actually want to know what it's about. So today, Remington, the Gundam we're going to be watching is Kido Senshi Gundam Suisei no Maho, or Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury.
What the fuck?
Hey, man.
All right, okay.
G-Witch for short.
All right, I have some critiques of the name. From the two I know, they got a simple formula. Gundam, here's a fucking word, right? Mobile Suit Gundam, word.
Mm-hmm.
I have complaints about this one. I
mean, you can just shorten it to Gundam Witch or G-Witch.
I don't know, man. I'm critiquing the title.
And I'll tell you right now, this isn't the first one to have it. Like, there's Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans, there's Gundam...
Jesus Christ.
There's, just straight up Mobile Suit Gundam, Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam, G Gundam, the 08th MS Team, After War Gundam X, Gundam Seed, of course, Gundam Evolve.
I like how you started out with an insane one, and then all the rest were just bland and straightforward.
Okay, Awakening of the Trailblazer.
Iron-Blooded Orphans is fucking bonkers.
Yeah, no, that's the most metal one, and that was my favorite one back when we originally recorded the podcast, because it was the edgy, violent one, because, why not? And plus, who doesn't love a good story featuring child soldiers and fascist dictatorships,
Hell yeah, brother.
And rising up against that. But yeah, no, there's a lot of there. And let's not even get started on things like Gundam Build Metaverse, like, although I do think this is a great title, Gundam Requiem for Vengeance. Like, it just speaks to the edgy kid in my heart. But yeah, no, Mobile Suit Gundam Witch from Mercury, or G-Witch for short. This Gundam, the whole setting is basically this. It's the space age, and a massive corporation has basically made a giant space station and has colonized space in a lot of ways, right? So they're not like on a specific planet, but it's very much the setting is very much ruled by a corporate entity, which, of course, you know how I love a story featuring a corporate entity to overthrow. I love that.
Gundam versus Xenomorph.
The Xenomorph would not last very long, Remington.
Joke's on you, it also has a mech.
Oh, the Xenomorph mech. I see.
The Xenomech.
Ah, the Xenomech, yes. You've seen Prometheus, I take it.
Does he have a Xenomech?
Not really, no, but it tries like giant super scale spaceships, and it's bad. It's bad. Prometheus is bad, and I don't acknowledge it properly. But no, in this setting, there is an academy for training, Gundam pilots. Like, not proper Gundam, right? Like, this is where you get into, like, some of the jargony things. Like, Gundam, very specifically, or Gund-Arm, is what they call it in this particular thing, Gundam for short, is a recently, like, made illegal form of mobile suit. Like, generally speaking, the big mechs are called mobile suits, right? And the reason they were made illegal was simply due to the fact that the way that they're programmed and built and function puts so much stress on the users that a lot of the times the users don't live or are crippled or are killed, you know? And of course, being a big corporate entity trying to make the people happy, they outright ban them. Our story is all about our main character, Suletta Mercury. And she was born and raised on Mercury and is the sole pilot of Ariel, which is, I can tell you're getting the smoke is coming out of your ears. You okay there, Rem?
I'm sorry, Shaun. Throughout this whole thing, you've yet to get to how the big bots smooch.
Okay, all right. Let me grossly simplify it for you. Corporate entity. You've got space country bumpkin equivalent with access to a Gundam that is most definitely illegal.
Cool.
But she seems to be able to use it without any side effects. It's an academy setting, and she just wants to be a normal, Gundam Academy person.
And so she probably meets someone who, like, follows the rules a bit more strictly.
Actually, the opposite.
Oh, okay.
She meets kind of our other protagonist.
I was ready for this to be like Captain's daughter type deal.
It is.
Oh, it's the Captain's daughter, but they're rebel because their father's the captain.
It's not that her father is the captain. It's that her father is, a big... What in the Megaverse are you trying to con? No, her father is a big head honcho in a corporate entity and is essentially forcing her to marry against her will, as a pseudo company merger type of thing. And essentially, after enrolling in the school, Suletta fights her would-be betrothed, beats him, and becomes Miorin's proper betrothed, and that's where the introduction of the Yuri plotline comes in. The overall story of this Gundam is, this corporate entity restricting things, as well as some, very nefarious behind-the-scene things going on with corporations, allegiances, countries, some various xenophobia. Yeah, it's basically academy, politics, and giant mechs punching the shit out of each other, is the nice, simplest way to put it. Gundam is complicated. But once you watch it, it's not that complicated. It's just a little hard to explain. Let's hope. And Rem, this is one of the most popular Gundam in recent times, because after all, it's got a lot of things that make it easier to get into. And most of the
does it have any cute robots?
Yeah. It has some of the little orb guys that you like so much.
Are they as cute or cuter?
Here's a little tiny picture that you can barely see.
Oh man, those 2 pixels are...
They're adorable. Figured you'd like them. But Rem, importantly, what we need to close out Pride Month with is twofold questions. One, do you think that this has the potential to be a good sci-fi action Yuri adventure with some political drama and some cool schools type setting? And two,
do robots belong in Pride?
Well, I think everybody belongs in Pride, Remington.
Except
I'm not going to limit
cops.
No, but I mean, like, not as an ally, but like, is Pride also about robots?
Is Pride also about robots? That's a great question.
That's one of the questions we're going to answer today.
And I can't wait to hear what you say. So I think without further ado, let's go straight into it. Let's go watch some Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury. And we are back after watching the first 5 episodes of Kido Senshi Gundam Suisei no Maho, or Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury. And to clarify, when I say the first 5 episodes, I'm talking about episodes 0 through 4. As if that wasn't confusing enough for folks, but it's Gundam.
Hey, shout out to all the computer scientists out there, all right?
Exactly. And, it's Gundam. You gotta have a little bit of complex sci-fi spaghetti in your Gundam, no matter what spin-off or series it is. So, that's just the nature of the beast. So, also, one thing I should mention. Rem, your boy's a dumbass.
I mean that, yes.
Yes,
hey,
yes.
I agree, but I still love you for it.
Yeah. Very, very specifically because your boy was very proud of himself this Pride Month. He was incredibly proud. He had it all planned out, had 4 perfect Pride Month episodes, a nice wide variety of things.
I see. You thought, while you thought that this was going to cap off Pride Month, you forgot that next week still is Pride Month.
Yeah, I forgot that Pride Month starts on a Saturday, which means that the month of June is technically contains 5 Saturdays, and your boy fucked up. So don't worry, next week is definitely gonna be a Pride Month episode. 100%.
Well, we'll see that clusterfuck next week. Whatever you definitely have planned for that.
Yeah.
But hey, for this week, back to good old Gundams.
Yep. Lesbians and giant suits of armor.
Here's a quick question.
Yes.
So there's so much world building jargon shit.
Yes.
Like so much. And I am trying to figure out who that's for. Because a part of it is it seems to think that you have never heard or understood anything about Gundam at all in your life. There's a lot that comes from that perspective. But also, the amount that they give you simultaneously assumes that you are an expert in all things Gundam. And I don't know if there's anything left in the middle of this Venn diagram.
The answer to that question, Remington, is some of it's for new people, some of it's for old people. It's a little bit of everything.
But with that approach, I feel like the experts will have moments where they're like, yeah, I know, blah, blah, blah. Get on with it. Meanwhile, the novices, such as myself, will have moments where it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? What does any of this mean?
Yeah, I will say, depending on which timeline you're working with, some of the things that appear to be core Gundam things do get shifted and changed, right? So that's why some of it's there. So it is for both fans, new and old, in both. It's just the comparing and contrasting of what is for whom can be a little tricky from time to time.
Then just be your own, if that is a concern, and if that is a concern that frequently pops up in different Gundam IPs, homie, you don't need to do Gundam. You can do mech your own shit. You don't need the name.
I mean, but Remington, that's where all the big bucks comes from. This is a Sunrise production.
Fuck.
This is, you gotta get the big monies out.
Well, let me say a few things, all right? They're gonna crucify me. They're gonna come for me.
Oh yeah? The lesbians are the Gundam fans.
Yes.
Oh, I see.
Because I suspect that this is a beloved series for a few reasons. I think people see how pretty it is, because boy, it's pretty, and it has such deliberate character designs. And its characters have moments of charm, right? You get cute girls doing cute things, but now you also have big mechs. And those 3 ingredients, right? Cute girls, big mechs, and a nice art style. I think that's all weeps want in this world. I think if you give them those 3 things, or honestly 2 out of the 3, then they'll love it. I need more. I think this show is a little bit of a mess. It's a beautiful mess. God, what a beautiful mess it is. But it's a bit of a mess.
Yeah, you're right. They are going to be pissed at you.
Well, let's start with the prologue, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
So with the prologue, you got you have a mother, father, daughter situation. They're on a space base and Gundams, which are a specific kind of mech or mobile suit rather, are being banned, and this assassination SWAT team shows up to kill everybody. They're like, it's they're like, it's hey, Gundams are bad for your health. So anyway, we started blasting. There's this really weird political speech where the guy is like, we can't have Gundams killing people. People gotta be killed by other people. And it's just such a weird philosophy. Like, Shaun, I know you've been playing Fallout New Vegas recently, and one of the interesting, compelling things about it is that, like, its different factions have, while you can criticize them, and certainly should, they have some kind of philosophy driving their actions, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a strong philosophy here in this anime that only people should be allowed to kill people. It just, what are you trying to say? And it's not an anti-tech argument, because still, they support giant mechs killing people. They just don't want you feeling like sick after combining with your mech a little too much or some shit. I don't know what they're even trying to say, and I understand it's like politicized. There's like ulterior motives, blah 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 blah. But at the same time, what is the surface? I can't even get into the deeper roots because I can't discern what the fucking surface is trying to depict. Am I missing something there, or is it just kind of vacuous?
It's like there's more complexities behind it, yeah. But like the initial introduction of the reason they don't want these Gundams to be produced is a combination of PR stuff, and like the general idea is, hey, this corporations are in charge, and corporations that produce powerful weapons that kill their users looks bad to people outside the corporations, and they won't, participate in said corporations, and it gets more complex as things go into it. The important thing you got to know, this is hostile capitalistic takeover, essentially, is the main idea. And it's being like propagandized and framed as this is an intense problem that needs to be dealt with. But at the same time, this isn't like, we don't see any of the negative PR, really. What we see is just it coming from the top down. Like, theoretically, look, if a corporation, I don't know, just, I'm gonna say, I'm just gonna throw a random airplane out there, right? If some Boeing products started... Very random. Random. Just pick that out of a hat. If Boeing products started to either, like, have some shoddy manufacturing or put a certain degree of risk onto the general public, that would be bad PR, and they would try to stop that bad PR. But they would also like to keep, like, selling those products. They would like to just keep doing that. And if people are buying them, all right, cool, get fucked. Like, they'll keep selling them. They're not gonna, out of a moral duty, but somehow still in a weird capitalistic sense, be like, nah, we can't keep making these. And so if it's instead like, oh, but it is a genuine risk and they're being taken off the market, it is a product recall, more or less, then why is it being framed in the way it's being framed? The politics are weird. The way it handles capitalism is weird. And also the way it handles space racism is weird, but we'll get there. Mm-hmm. It's just so strange. But long story short, in the prologue, the important things are Gundams are banned now, and a tragic moment with the family. Oh no. And then it's just a little condensed story. The prologue was pretty good, a bit cliche, nothing terribly remarkable, but it was pretty good. Then we get to episode 1. All right, we're properly starting with the main story. We meet our protagonist,
Mercury, right? She's going to a school of tech. She's super excited. And as she's getting there, someone is floating outside. Oh no, just in the vacuum of space. So she uses her Gundam to go and rescue the girl. But the girl, Miorine? I don't know how to pronounce her name. I have no idea. Miorine. I don't say it.
Miorine.
Oh, okay. So, okay, it comes out awkward on the tongue.
I don't think you can say that, Rem. I
I
feel
can say
like
it's my tongue. It's coming off awkward. I'm not saying it comes off awkward on all tongues. It comes off awkward on my tongue, the only tongue which I can speak of in that matter.
And just because it's a
Miorine,
foreign name has nothing to do with it.
There's a good chance it has something to do with it because I am less used to such names. It's not a moral judgment, Shaun. If anything, it is a self-critique.
Yeah, you think after doing this show for 6 years, you'd have a little bit better time pronouncing Japanese names.
So, Miorine, she yells at Mercury, how dare you? I was escaping and you've ruined it. And then they get to the School of Tech, and oh my gosh, things are interrupted by an official duel, because how this school handles literally everything, and also the only thing we know about this school so far. Literally the one characteristic of this school. It handles everything with duels. Is that likely an insane financial cost, as well as being insanely reckless because it threatens the lives of many people? The first duel we see, lots of students just almost die in the collateral damage, as well as like the damage to the mechs. I don't know how this is sustainable in any meaningful way. But here we are. We get a duel, and this guy who, because it's spelled the same, I'm just gonna call him Ghoul. Ghoul loves to duel. His name is spelled the same as Duel, but with a G, so that's good. That's what I'm gonna go with.
Sure.
So Ghoul, he wins, and he's the champion duelist, right? And there's a special title for him. He's the valedictorian, more or less. And because he won, he is gonna get Miorine as his bride. Everything is decided by duels, and that helps decide that. Blah 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 blah. Some arguments break out between Miorine and Ghoul ruins all of her tomatoes, and Mercury steps in, and Ghoul is like, you want to fucking do something about it? And so they're gonna duel now. And if she loses, she has to leave the school. And then Miorine actually instead, I guess just off-screen steals the Gundam, Mercury's Gundam. Like, they don't... It's like, oh, okay. Mercury stepped in to defend Miorine, so now Mercury is caught up in a duel. But actually, Miorine is gonna do the duel. But actually, Mercury, I guess, is surprised by this. I guess she's like watching her duel about to happen with somebody else in her mech, and she's like, huh, I should be on that. And so she goes and boards her Gundam mid-duel, and there's arguments to be had, and eventually Mercury easily wins. Bada bing, bada boom. And because she won, she's now the valedictorian, and also she is now Miorine's fiance. All right. It's a lot, man. It's a lot. Especially, I cut out, I would say half of, at least of the content of episode 1, if not more, because there's so many fucking characters, and there's so much goddamn jargon. Like, there's too much. There's too much, Shaun.
I don't think so. I think it's all right. I enjoy it.
They introduce, it might be close to 24 different characters in episode 1. Like, it's up there. At least between 1 and 24. There's just too many. And there's so much jargon with what's going on. And then they feel the need to be like, hey, if you didn't know, Gundam is a super cool special mech. Look at this special Gundam. And I have to imagine that's something they just kind of do in most Gundam anime, where they're like, hey, if you didn't know, if you weren't aware, Gundam is the cool one.
I mean, you're not wrong about that.
It's and then it's also just kind of weird that so Miorine, she, because of her dad, is gonna have to marry the valedictorian. At no point do they ask the valedictorian about it. Now that Mercury has the title, right, of best duelist in the world, no one is like, hey, so Mercury, do you accept Miorine's hand in marriage? And like, she's kind of uncomfortable with the whole thing, but it's just kind of presumed. It's just how that works. Fuck you, I guess. I don't know. There's a lot of weird shit going on. And while that could be explored in a meaningful, interesting way, instead, they're like, how about some jargon? And I don't need that. That's not doing anything for me. Now, instead of understanding the characters and the motivation and even the world on a deeper level, now I'm confused about some of the characters and their relationships. I'm confused about the world. I'm confused about the jargon, and I'm confused about everything. There's just so much. Episode 2, they're like, hey, Gundam is illegal, in case you didn't watch the prologue. And there's a little interrogation. Mercury is going to be expelled and kicked out of the school. Oh, no. But then Miorine speaks up, and there's going to be a rematch of the duel. Mercury versus Ghoul again. Ghoul is fighting with all the expectations of his own family, which is also very political, right? They expect him to be the very best, like no one ever was. And so he needs to regain his honor, as it were. And so Miorine challenges her dad to a duel, and that turns into Mercury versus Ghoul 2. And we also get a weird bit where we learn that Mercury's Gundam isn't a Gundam. Like, it is, but it's not. And I'm going to call all of them Gundams, just keep in mind. But this one is closer to being a Gundam without fully being a Gundam proper, whereas all the other Gundams aren't Gundams at all. I hate the jargon rabbit hole, Sean.
Rem.
With all due respect, I don't really care if it's like technically speaking a Gundam or not, especially because there might be some like cool relevant details, but talking about how, oh, you would have gotten the data static readings if it were actually a Gundam, that's fucking meaningless to me. I don't care. I don't care. Okay, I guess they didn't get the static readings of a Gundam, and so it's not a Gundam, but in every other way it is. Why do I give a shit about these minutia? Why do we spend time here?
Because it's the loophole that keeps them not classifying it directly as a Gundam, even though it 100% is a Gundam.
Why not make it something meaningful? Why just be like, oh, it's not a Gundam, because... That's not... Fucking write a good script, god damn you!
A lot of people think this is a great script.
It's a bad script. It's a bad script because almost all of the dialogue at all times is either jargon that's borderline meaningless, right? Or it's an exposition dump about the world or the characters or their relationships. Characters will just be like, yes, well, you understand that because we're Spacians, we hate Earthians, the long-standing rivalry. Oh, don't you understand the oppression that's going on here? Oh, well, you see, this is a Gundam, but not actually a Gundam. Well, we handle all our things by duels here. That's the only law of the land in this place. Oh, her, well, she is the daughter of blah, 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 blah. I want... Just have a human conversation instead! Like, there are some brief moments that I'm like, oh, lovely, charming, great. And those are smothered by exposition dumps at every turn. Like, it's a bad script because so much of it is either meaningless or its sole purpose is to deliver exposition. And that's not a good way to tell a story. That's not ideal. It's also very strange that the valedictorian at this school is vitally important to galactic politics. Like, it is one of the most important things in the galaxy is what student is doing real good at this school. I don't. It's dumb, Shaun. It's really stupid. But it throws a bunch of jargon at you, so people are like, oh man, that jargon must mean it's well thought out and smart. No, you don't be deceived. They're like, the art style is so beautiful and deliberate. That means that the lore and the story must be too. Do not be seduced by the art style. It's... oh, fuck.
So, Rem, out of curiosity, how does it feel to lose every single Gundam fan in our audience?
Look, man, mech shows can be good, alright? It's possible. Giant mechs, awesome, badass, amazing.
And yet you've hated everyone I've shown you.
This is like the second one you've shown me.
It's not.
Is it not? How many?
No.
Wait, how many
Yeah.
Gundam have you shown?
I've only shown you 2 Gundam, but those aren't the only 2 mech shows I've shown you.
Oh, okay. Okay, mech shows. Yeah. Well, mech shows can be dope. They're just usually not, because I don't think they have to be. I don't think the mech enthusiasts are a wildly discerning audience. And that's how we get a
Jesus.
Sawdust Mill. That's how we get the Sawdust Mill. I want good mech anime, alright? I want there to be dope shit out into the world. But if you keep buying the sawdust, folks, they're gonna keep churning out the sawdust.
Man, this is very homophobic of you, Rem.
You'll notice I've hardly touched about the lesbian elements because they're kind of introduced. Thus far, there's 3 possible romances for Mercury, 2 with guys, 1 with a girl, and the one with a girl she has said no to, and with one of the guys, she said, I don't understand, and with the other one, her feelings are just kind of blossoming. So even though the main romance, sure, is a lesbian, they're introducing this weird love triangle element that's wildly unnecessary. As well as the fact that it's also arranged marriage and strange in that regard. I don't know. I don't think this is a great gay anime. I don't think it's a good example of that. Especially, I would love it if they focused more on their relationship, right? On these characters. Because easily, the best moments of the show are just the brief human moments we get between them, right? They do have some charming character moments. They do have charming moments together. Not nearly enough. Because it'll be like, oh, that's a nice moment with those two. All right, so as we can tell by the Intergalactic Council, each one of the biowatts has gone malfunctioning, and thus we need to, by the Council of the 8 mechs, decide. Why? Shut the fuck up! No one is here for that. You can have cool-ass politics, right? Love it. You can have awesome space world building. You can have a neat mech school. You can have some good romance. You can have mech duels. All of these things can be pretty cool. It's trying to do all of them, and it's not giving enough development for any of them. So it's a fucking mess. It lacks focus, Shaun. Episode 3, we're gonna get the duel between Mercury and Ghoul part 2. They duel. This time Ghoul has a new mech, and poor Mercury has this really stupid moment where halfway through the fight, she's like, is that a different mobile suit than before? It is a different color, different layout. It's all set up differently. It has different moves. Come on, Mercury. This one's bright red. You gotta be more attentive on the battlefield. It's also, the duels, while they could be cool, it's very difficult to discern what's, like, meaningful, because I don't know what is skill and what's just tech, right? Like, am I watching 2 very talented people, one outfoxing the other, Or am I watching one guy with a knife get demolished by somebody with a Gatling gun? I don't know. Like, I'm not able to discern those differences, and so I don't know when to be impressed nor by what. There's also some weird sabotage moments, which are A-okay in duels, and also, as we'll learn, A-okay during tests and, like, examinations, apparently. In episode 4, the Spacians start sabotaging and pranking the Earthians in their exams, and it's brought up. It's like, hey, isn't that fucked up? And they're like, hey, it's just how it is. What are you doing? What kind of fucked school is this? What are they trying to teach? Like, I don't know why it's even said at a school. It really shouldn't be. It didn't need to be. And then that has the element of the space racism, right? Spacians versus Earthians. And I'm going to use an example of a movie that's very often criticized, Shaun.
Okay.
One of your favorites for a specific reason, Zootopia.
Okay, listen here.
I'm going to lightly critique Zootopia, and then make a point. Zootopia was widely critiqued for having a one-dimensional, pretty straightforward racism allegory that had some, like, problematic elements, right? Zootopia is a better racism allegory than what is being handled in this anime. It's in G-Witch, it's so one-dimensional and bad. It's so bad. Which could just be one-dimensional and bad if they didn't decide that it was, like, so important for everything. And now it's, like, one-dimensional bad, but very relevant. And that's not great. This show, it's trying to do so much, and it shouldn't have. It really shouldn't have. Here's what it should have been, Shaun. You know, I'll give a few different proposals, all right? And I'll let you choose which one you like best.
You're not dragging me into this.
It could be a lovely lesbian space romance, right? Cool, awesome, sci-fi Yuri. You get all the beautiful visuals that the show still has. You just don't really worry about the other details. Okay, say we want some big mechs and stuff. Okay, let's make the focus on a good old mech school. It's a good old mech school. That's where the focus is gonna be. We're gonna zoom in on the mech school, how it works. Those mechanics, we're gonna ideally make it make any amount more sense than it currently does. And then we'll be able to, like, understand it a little bit more. You can go the My Hero Academia route if you'd like. You can go the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX route if you'd like. After all, duels. Any of those are acceptable. That's all fine. And then if you want to combine those two, you can. And because there are only those main ingredients, I think you would still be able to pull it off. But then when you are adding in all of the capitalistic overtones, big corporations and councils and politics and space racism, all of these things getting to be a bit much. And now you're no longer letting any element shine through. So those would be my solutions. Focus on the romance, focus on the school, or combine the two. Don't add anything else to it. And then you'd have a nice story, and it could be lovely. Right now, you just have something that looks really nice, has some nice designs, some decent character moments, but such a bad script, it's kind of silly.
Oh, man. People have been waiting 6 years for another Gundam episode.
I mean, hey, if you want to defend the script, I just, and this applies to anybody, feel free. Tell me a moment in the script that's in these episodes, right? Just a really good moment in the script where you're like, God, how magnificently structured or stated. How brilliant. That's all you need to do, all right? It can be a piece of dialogue. It can be a narrative technique employed that's just really, like, original and nails it. And any of those things, just send a moment or two our way, and I'm always willing to change my opinion, because I can point to a lot that are cringy and bad.
Oh boy. Well, I know that if I ask you to get into any more details about this, we're just going to be crucified for it. So, hey, all I will say is I personally still enjoy this series quite a bit. I like it a lot better than a lot of the other Gundam I've had to watch in the past 6 years, I'll tell you that much.
I mean, I think that as far as Gundam go, if you just kind of let it wash over you, right? You don't try to think about the world or the jargon it's throwing at you. Whenever you hear jargon, you just kind of be like, yes, sci-fi nonsense, yes. The politics you just view in very broad black and white strokes like it really wants you to. And you look at the art style and the cute moments, and you just like take it very face value without deciding you want anything else, and without thinking about it in any way. I think you can enjoy it. I think the visuals are pretty enough that you can just kind of mindlessly accept that it's great.
Ooh, man, I cannot wait for all the angry emails and people who disown us because of this episode are gonna get. And just to clarify, Rem doesn't hate it because of the lesbian elements, so don't come at us with that.
Those are the best parts! Those are the best parts! There should have been much more.
Well, and there is more down the line, I will say that much. So much so that by the end of the franchise, Sunrise itself very much tries to, like, not actually, no. Don't focus on those aspects, even though those are the aspects that more or less sealed the deal for everybody in the audience of this particular series.
Like, once again, the characters and relationships, that could be very good. The school and whatnot, that could be interesting and neat. Everything else, I don't see much potential in, just because it doesn't even really try to bring anything interesting, like world building wise or political intrigue wise. It's all very, if you've seen anything in this genre, like, you know exactly what's happening, you know where it's going. So I don't think they should have focused on any of that.
Well, who knows, Rem? Maybe next time we visit Gundam, I will choose the highest ranked Gundam in history, and we'll watch it, and if you have complaints about it, then you can just write off the entire franchise and everybody else who cares about it. So
I really thought the lesbian Gundam was gonna be the one to really capture me, you know? If there was any to, I thought it was gonna be this one, but...
Yeah, hey, I thought it was too, but I don't know. Maybe I enjoy jargon, Rem. Maybe I am
so
the bottom denominator for this show. I don't know. I enjoy it. I thought it was good. I thought it was fun. I like the characters. I'm okay with the jargon. It makes sense to me. I don't know, man.
You can't say it makes sense to you. You can understand, like, oh, the jargon, they're kind of saying something like this, but the jargon is inherently meaningless. The jargon is inherently a placeholder.
Things have to have a name, Remington.
Yeah, but they're just blah-blahing empty space. Things do have to have a name. You know what doesn't need to have a name? Emptiness, vacuous nothing. So often they're just like, oh yeah, blah 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 bullshit. Oh, but what if, I don't know, just call it something, right? If I show up to you, Shaun, right? And, oh no, I've been terribly late for a recording, Shaun. Oh no. And I'm like, I can explain myself, blah blah blah. You wouldn't accept that as a great answer, right?
I mean, no.
No, it would be a terrible answer. But if instead I just threw in some fucking some jargon in there, right? Where I'm like, oh, I had to go fix my Bitrix over there, and I've spent all day at the Asyler. I'm not saying anything. This is nonsense. I'm still just saying blah blah blah, right? But now I've hidden that fact. That's what jargon does. It just hides blah blah blah.
I mean, I would have a follow-up question of like, okay, what is that exactly?
Well, joke's on you. In the media, you aren't allowed follow-up questions. It's a one-way form. You would want those follow-up questions, just like if you were in these worlds, you'd be like, hey, what the fuck are you actually saying, though? And then it would be forced to be recognized that they aren't saying anything.
Well, hell. I don't know what else to say, Ram. I really don't.
I don't know, just throw in some jargon in there and pretend it's a defense.
Christ, we are going to get crucified for this one. Maybe it's good that this isn't the last episode of Pride Month. I didn't think you'd hate it this much.
And I don't actively hate it. It's just wildly disappointing and bad. It's not in the abyss, but it is very bad.
Well, all right. Well, it's not... Okay. Well, Rem, then what do you think is the Mal score for this anime?
Oh, fuck. Let's see.
I don't know if you're going to be able to get it.
Okay, all right. Another wonky calibration, because I think very pretty, cute girls, mechs. We've been over that. I think that's gonna feed a lot of weebs. All right. I think very few of them will care much about the bad script. There might be some weird cultural backlash or backlash to, as you said, like if they kind of like rescind or don't go all the way. So kind of backlash on both sides, though I don't know how strong such a backlash would be. And then there's always the factor of, who knows, maybe they make a decision that like the whole fandom disagreed with later on. I think I'm going to say, oh, fuck. This has a wide range. I'm kind of shooting in the dark here. 7.68?
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, I could see it being a fair bit higher or a fair bit lower, so I'm just kind of shooting in the middle of the pack.
Okay. Alrighty. Well then, Remington. Witch from Mercury, G-Witch for short, surprisingly only has 78,000 ratings.
Okay.
On Mal. Which is pretty low considering it originally aired in 2022.
Yeah.
But with those 78,000 ratings, G-Witch is sitting nice and pretty. Its first season specifically is sitting nice and pretty at 7.86.
Ah, okay.
Because by and large, in recent times, as far as Gundams go, this is probably the most popular new Gundam. The close second would be a remake of an older Gundam that came out around the same time period.
Okay, so I take it there wasn't like a ton of backlash for the gay stuff.
There is, but only from very loud people. Because, like, with the way things go...
Is there a spike on, like, the 1 out of 10s?
Let me double check. Not really.
Okay,
yeah,
that was where I miscalibrated. I thought there was going to be some vindictive asshats, and there weren't. So
there are in the reviews section.
Yeah.
But like
there
not as
are,
many.
But not nearly as many.
Yeah, people aren't review bombing this particular series,
which is good. Hey, don't do that.
Yeah, it's just that 90% of the bad reviews I read for it are either upset at that aspect of it, or a lot of their criticisms of it not being Gundam enough, which is just thinly veiled that aspect of it.
Look, y'all, it was too much Gundam. That's the real hot take here.
Yeah, and a lot of people are upset with how the prologue went compared to the actual show, right? Which is why I had you watch the prologue, because there's a lot of people saw the prologue and thought it was going to be that constantly throughout the series. And there is a lot of aspects of that later on in the series, but a lot of people dropped the show around episode 4 because of how drastically different it was from its very like heavy-handed prologue.
I guess I would understand that more if I thought the prologue was something like insanely unique in and of itself. It was pretty good, and that's about it.
Again, like a lot of the criticisms that I've read for this show are not great.
Yeah.
So far, the only criticisms that I think that have been fairly valid have been yours, and for the most part, your criticisms just make me sad more than anything.
If it helps, they make me sad too.
See, and the more you say, the more angry I get. Like, my Christ. God. All right. Well, hey, next time we cover Gundam, we'll have to see how it goes. I'll see if I can pull up, like, the highest rated Gundam of all time and see if that changes anything for you. Or maybe I'll go for the most popular Gundam back when we started this show. The super edgy one that has a lot of blood and child soldiers and slavery. that might be the one to do, but I felt a little bad taste for this month, if you ask me.
Yeah.
So, maybe that's the route we'll go in the future. Maybe that'll help, but it could genuinely just be that you hate Gundam, and that's the way it's going to be.
Well, hey, man. If Gundam is bad, then I do hate Gundam.
My Christ, dude. Gundam is the reason we have giant robots punching things, Rem. You know that, right?
And, that's fine. Birth of the Nation was a wildly influential film in film history, and it's shit. Like, it's okay to be like, hey, that was a big step forward when it comes to certain ideas and certain technological advancements, and certain technical achievements, while also being like, and we should move on from it. Those can both be said. I can respect old Grandpappy Gundam. Thank you what you've done. You've inspired many. Now, old Yeller, we're gonna take you out back.
Christ.
It might be time. It might be time to get rid of Grandpappy Gundam. All right, that's all I'm saying.
Oh, God. The amount of people who have already listened to part 1 of this episode are going to be so fucking disappointed. Oh, well. You know, omelets and eggs and whatnot. I suppose with that in mind, I think I already know the answer, but any chance you're ever going to watch any more G-Witch with me, Rem?
No. I think you could make a good abridged series out of it, though. So, I'd recommend that for any creatives.
All right, well, with that in mind, thank you all so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. If you enjoy Rem, officially just giving a whole other clientele of our audience the middle finger, then please head on over to wherever we get your podcast.
Also, I didn't even mention, Shaun, at no point do we get Gundams kissing, so that's pretty fucked up. Continue.
I don't know if I want to.
I mentioned that in part 1, and I said I was going to talk about it, but then I just never did. So I'm just dropping it here at the end.
The amount of times we talk about things in part 1 and never get back to it in part 2 are too many to count. So
yeah, but by this point, somebody's already sent an email, right? They've written it up, drafted it up, typed it out. They were like, "You never addressed the kissing Gundams thing," and then they're gonna hear me say that and be like, "Fuck."
You do know that that's not going to be what the emails are going to say, Rem. I'm sorry. Not this time. Maybe you'll get a YouTube video comment on it. Maybe. But, I don't think that's what's going to happen, all things considered.
Well, yeah, because now I've covered it.
Christ.
All right, blah, 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 Patreon.
Blah, 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 blah. Leave us a review wherever you get your podcast. They mean the world to us, and we do read every single one. And please don't review bomb us just because Remington has an opinion about your favorite series. That's not what those are for. But if you do want to do even more for us, patreon.com/animeofcontext, where you gain access to all kinds of lovely bonus material, including having the opportunity to be thanked live on the podcast. So, Rem, who are we thanking this week?
Well, as always, we would like to send our regards to all of our bland bitch protagonists, as well as our magical girls, who we really appreciate. But moving on, we get to our yandere waifus, who are dueling us in a great mech battle with tons of collateral damage. And on that list, we have Zombie Stomp, Xanax, Yandere Neko, Yams and Eggfest, Why Shaun, where's our DBZ review, you ginger fuck? Wes Kane, welcome to Anime in Full and Complete Context, the show where watching Requiem for Spoonman at 0.5 speed, Utah #1, Unhinged Prax, Totally God's Angel, Titan CNH. This show is a ploy to be the mayor of Goontown, the Susanator, the Spoonman, nah, that's the Shaun Man, the pocket big hole you need in your pocket, the Flying Spaghetti Monster, the Danish Viking will conquer the world with Renor Zoro as my navigator, the capybara shamefully admits she is down bad for the banshees in Tokapon Kingdom. Turbin, Super Zoo, Stacy's mom, Snaky Pie, Shrek is love, Shrek is life. Shaun wants to give Spoonman a thanking yank. Shaun recommend me tea, you ginger prick. Shaun make Rem watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia for a reverse April Fool's episode. I'm fully aware that every normal episode is a reverse April Fool's. Shaun, we must dropkick some devils. Shaun ruined my happy sugar life when he started oozing all over the couch. Shaun keeps a loaf of bread in his room to keep the gooner goonin' ooh woo.
I hate that.
Shaun had a last thing to go all night, but he got out of breath when he had to blow her up. Shaun can do these nuts. Seraphim the Shark plushie, Sequoia Kai, that's what she said. Say hi to that guy's fiance, I think it's Haley. Ross Palmer, Rhiannon Williams. Remington needs to rewatch Attack on Titan at 0.75 speed to pay for his sins. Remington is right. Rem uses the drums of liberation to free all weeps from bad anime. Rem hit rock bottom is still on top of Shaun. Rem doesn't completely hate my favorite shows. Reject modernity, embrace tradition, scene girls are better than e-girls. Pro tips out of context the next time someone tells you the government wouldn't do that. Oh yes they would, they already have. Professor Fox, Pockwell Musico. Onichi-chi 10 out of 10 family show. Oh dear, it's time, Shikanoko, Noko.
I'm gonna get a lot of those.
Oh god. No waifu, no lifu. Nick, Necrodancer 1415. Mikasa Tsukasa, Make Kid 7 Hierto. Meme God Shikanoko. I was sent the video and I didn't watch it because it's weeb shit.
Yeah. Look, man, we're gonna have to cover it when it comes out, and like I think it's gonna be a VTuber situation where you're gonna watch and be like, okay, that's the opening to the show. Why is it a meme? That's gonna be you. That's gonna be you in a few weeks.
Oh no. Making fake mal accounts so I can rate Forest Fairy 5, 10 out of 10. Macaroni and Cheesesaw, Link Joke Girl, Kylo, Cowandy, King Rich Rock, Cassidy, Jergidius, Jax, Jam Hands, Icon Scout. I'll date someone as long as they're not a normal human. I don't care if they're a boy or girl. I will never get more Ace of the Diamond. Now I cry. I tried manscaping with a straight edge razor. I had to change my Patreon name for a podcast about dinosaurs. Sorry. I can't believe I made an account for this. Happy Pie, episode 314. Glenn Michael Dolan, Ginger Weeb, Fern the guy who did the thing that one time. Farmer Weeb, and now we move on to the inappropriate Joey Wheeler tier, where Shaun in Joey Wheeler's voice will say the best Spoon Man yams. Fantide, Erica McCorkle. Dylan, do you strongly disagree, agree, or strongly agree that Shaun talks a lot of shit for someone in cum shot distance?
I beg your pardon.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson in a fursuit, Domo, Derpixian Worshipper, Danielle Riot, Daddy Rum, tell me a bedtime story, Come Sweat and Tears, Cheese Monkey, Catgirls are best girls, so give them cute little paws, Brockhard for Geo, oh good heavens, the deer, they're eating me, Blake Star, Bartholomew Flem, Bento Kato, Tegan and Sarah are a gay musical duo. Been a while since I've changed my name on here, but I got a third 4.0, can't believe it. I'm also changing my major from funeral. Batman couldn't hate fuck that information out of me. Animes are always full of giant robots, but in real life, I haven't seen one in months, said it's a bored and shaded Misaka. It's like you knew. And every day that Raven comes to visit, Amazing Muffin. All hail Pui Pui Philosopher King. AJ Tunnels, Aisha Gache, a Moe piece of trash. And now we move on to the Boy Wizard tier. Tell them what they're gonna get, Shaun.
Constellations, because it's fast and easy.
All right. Week 4, asking for Darling in the Franxx review.
Andromeda.
Vincent Calabrese.
Antilla.
Umbra Sight.
Oh fuck. Apus?
That Mouse Girl.
Aquarius.
Tails Williams learns the truth of what happened.
I made a mistake choosing this. Aquila?
Sporadic Silver.
Ara.
Silent Secondary.
Aries.
Shikanoko, Noko, Koshi Tantan, Shikanoko, Noko, Koshi Tantan, Shikanoko, Noko, Koshi Tantan.
I feel like there's gonna be more. Origa.
Shikanoko, Noko, Koshi Tantan, Shikanoko, Noko, Koshi Tantan, Shikanoko, Noko, Koshi Tantan.
Boots.
Shikanoko, Noko, Koshi Tantan, Shikanoko, Noko, Koshi Tantan, Shikanoko, Noko, Koshi Tantan.
Calum.
Shikanoko, Noko, Koshi Tantan, Shikanoko, Noko, Koshi Tantan, Shikanoko, Noko, Koshi Tantan.
Kamel Opardalis.
Shikanoko, Noko,
You guys gotta fucking kill him. You're gonna kill him.
Shikanoko, Noko, Koshi Tantan.
Appropriately, Cancer.
Shaun, I'm coming. That's how we end that train.
Canis Venatici. Holy fuck.
Scourge, best $20 spent, LMAO.
Canis Major.
Sammy K is beautifying enough doggos to up her Patreon membership.
Appropriately, Canis Minor.
Roscop.
Capricornus.
Remington Chase's laugh is my favorite sound.
Carina.
Pan Expert.
Cassiopeia.
Nightshade Blade wants to gush over magical girls.
Centaurus.
Nithir Aberraren Sean Malin Baden-Württemberg.
Cepheus.
Monogatari is a fun story about chasing down the apparitions with a bit of romance and sometimes can get horrifically fucked.
God, Latin is a pain in the ass. Cetus? Cadus? One of the two.
Mike.
Chameleon.
Miguel De Leon.
Cursinius.
Latino's 431st anime at 21 was initial D third stage. Every day, every night, crazy for love, Shaun R. 2010.
Columba.
It's just that spy guy.
Coma Berenices. Fucking Latin, Christ.
I ran out of funny quips, so I'll just make you say cunt weekly.
Corona Australis.
Getting baked during Yam Month Thanksgiving dish.
Corona Borealis.
Crosskirk.
God, I just realized that has Corona in the name. That's fuck. Our YouTube video's fucked now. Corvus.
Crimson Reapers, just because of the scythes.
Crater.
Carver 271.
Crux.
Blood Cell here to remind you that white blood cells are inferior. You need the red ones to thank and yank anyways.
Delphinius.
Beethoven 1201.
Dorado.
Anonymous.
Draco.
Anime Mashup of the Week, Initial Defrag.
Gemini.
Animated Z.
Heracles.
All Father takes a brief hiatus from the decade to say Shikanoko, Noko, Constantinople.
Okay, that's funny. That's pretty funny. Leo.
And now we move on to the inappropriate Joey Wheeler tier, where Sean Rollins, as Joey Wheeler, will design you a big mech, and I will name it. We start with Rowdy-O.
Fuck. Okay, right. So, here's the thing. It's got 4 legs, 4 arms, and a big spear.
Just one spear?
Just one.
Oh.
But it's a very big one.
And that's what it's called, the big one. Then we get Papa Sean's spider hands are enough to turn a good girl bad.
I don't know how to respond to that. I don't know how to respond to that. Right. So, your mech is going to be, extremely effeminate, but have a massive robotic beard and a big gun.
And it's gonna be called the Dwarven Goddess. Next up, we got Earwolf Mindshats Den Contir Haben.
Yours is gonna be, Orb. It's gonna be an orb.
Its name is Roundo. Roundo the giant orb. I, Remington, by verbal contract, will watch One Piece.
If only it was that simple. Yeah, okay. Your mech, right, is gonna be, at first, it's gonna look like a giant, massive, ship, right? But then it's gonna change into a big guy. And it's not gonna be that one Decepticon from Transformers. It's not gonna be, I promise.
It's gonna be called Titanic 3.
Oh no.
And last but not least, we got Blue Baron 15.
Yours is going to be, it's gonna be just the biggest. Oh man, like just the biggest.
That's all. It's just the biggest.
It's the biggest. You gotta have a big Gundam here
What?
and there.
As we know, it's not called the big one. That name's already taken.
Yeah, see, copyright's a bitch in space. You very strict rules.
So the name for this one is Damn Boy He Thick. Oh Lord, he coming.
And it's also cat shaped, just so you know.
Yeah. Thank you all for tuning in. If you want to reach out, whether it's for a comment, question, feedback, or recommendation, you can tweet us at AnimeConPod on Twitter, or send an email over on to animeoutofcontext@gmail.com.
Once again, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. We love and appreciate you very, very much. And as always, don't fuck your sister.
Do 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 do. And also the way it handles space racism, spacism is weird, but we'll get there. I think Dylan is a little bit of a mess. God, what a beautiful mess, but it's a bit of a mess. Underwear is just a weird shaped donut. It's my tongue, it's coming on.